27th of February 2024. You're very welcome back. Going with the flow, politically speaking. As I and others become effective in what is a sort of conservative rebellion, which is expressed by the farmers of Europe, of Canada, and other places, and the protests against the left wing generally, the cultural Marxism, which involves mass migration, and where they paint the likes of myself as some kind of a country bumpkin. I would point out that in Iceland there's no migrants at all, and in Malta, in the Mediterranean, there's no migrants allowed in at all. Malta is an EU country, Iceland is not an EU country. So this idea that we're out of time with everyone else and out of pace, it needs to be looked at, where it has brought us. We have a war raging in Ukraine, which if conservatives were in charge, decent people, there'd be no war. We have these people in charge in America, the left wing, perpetrating an outrageous genocide in Gaza with no restraint. And we have all of this left wing stuff going on with a teacher in jail in Ireland for calling a boy him. And would you believe it, I believe there are easily half of the people of the Republic of Ireland who fully believe in this. That doesn't mean we're bet. Because of our proportional representation system, we might just be able to fight back a little. Now, when I push some of these people who are good, outstanding members of my acquaintances all over Ireland. I mean, my local community is only part, and all over, and all down to Dublin and up in the north and everything else. When I push a lot of them to debate the issues, they say the government is right. When I say that there is now evidence that the COVID vaccine, some of it was dangerous, and that the DNA of other people, of unborn babies who were aborted, and other animals may be have been injected into the people's system. In other words, our DNA has been altered in some cases, and when we reproduce, not affect me, I didn't take it, that will be passed on. So it's possible that the DNA of alien creatures, or mammals, or whatever, is now being carried by a heap of people in Western societies. Yet, what I hear from some of the people who support this is, my doctor told me I should get it. And that's all I want. Well, where did his doctor study the subject? Immunology and all this? Not much. The doctor has to be able to fix a broken toenail, and he has to be able to fix a broken arm and all that. But he's not an expert in everything. The bottom line is the order came down from the government's man, Patrick Hoonan, and Anthony Fauci in America, and that's good enough for them. Well, is it good enough? In the lead up to the Second World War, the Germans, by and large, not all, 37% voted for Hitler, and another good few of them went along with Hitler's excesses. They didn't oppose him any. It mightn't have been easy to do it. So they were obviously wrong to support the Nazi genocide of the people, and yet at the time they were right. Now, what I'm saying is, why can we not assess it ourselves? It's the same with the renewable energy. Oh, we have to end climate change. John Kerry was on the YouTube the other day. He hadn't a clue what he was talking about. He says the majority of scientists agree there's global warming. Who selected them? The government. The same government that led up to the war in Ukraine, and that has the mess there we have now, and can't control Israel in their attack on the people of the Gaza. Why should they be smart? Why should they be the smart ones? Didn't they bring down the economy in 2008? Have we learned nothing from that? My view is, folks, we think it out for ourselves, and that's what my channel is about. And I know that when I meet people, I can know they smile, they think I'm right, and I'm well got that way, and I see others who turn their back to you you're the troublemaker I hate. And that is the polarization that we have. That's the polarization. When you pump in massive numbers of migrants in here, make billionaires of the people who cooperate with it, deny your children the right to a house, lock up teachers in jail. When you do all of that, you are going to polarize society. When you put big ugly pylons all around the place for no reason, without complying with the law on the SCA directive, you're going to polarize and turn some of the people against you. When you try to force farmers off the land and tell them they have to stop producing food while you encourage data centres in that use more than the farmers, you're going to provoke a backlash. The only question I can't answer for you is, what percentage of the people in Ireland support that? There's still half. You take the Dutch victory in Holland, there's still half the people of Holland woke. In Poland, they're elected Donald Tusk, a left-wing fella, who is shutting down any media that doesn't agree with him. Shutting it down. And imprisoning his opposition. So that's the way, that's the situation. And there's a mess all over the place. All the like of me can do is try and keep a lid on the pot and accurately predict what happened. I was one of the few people in Ireland to predict that the Ukraine war would last 2 years. In that assessment, I figured that the money'd run out anyway, that they couldn't continue as they're doing now. It's now a week over the invasion. But I didn't factor in the printing of money and the granting of billions. I think it's 49 billion by the EU to the Ukraine and 60 billion being looked for by the American government to keep out the Russians when the migrants are pouring across the southern border. This is a polarization. It needs to be debated, and I'm all for having a debate with everybody. But when I go to debate, what I get is, well, the government told me. When John Kerry's asked to comment on the climate, that's the American Secretary of State for climate change, all he can say is the most of the scientists agree with my position. In other words, it's the number of scientists, not what they know. The world was full of scientists in 1900, and there was only 2 or 3 that were able to figure out the stuff that Einstein was later prepared to able to put right, and that's his theory of relativity. So how many of them would have ever come up with the theory of relativity? If we were waiting on the rest of them, we still wouldn't have it. There's always 1 or 2 who can sort out the facts. So that's the thing. It's a question of, can we think for ourselves? Okay, and in that we have to figure that the end result of the mayhem and the chaos of the left and this government insistence on controlling us is war. And it won't be long till they come for your young fella and your young daughter and shove them in, as is happening in the Ukraine, shove them in. People trying to get to work are being arrested and put in the army, and they're only trying to feed their families. I don't want to see that. I want to preach against it. And the other thing I say, anyone who disagrees with me, contact me, and I will debate this openly and publicly with you, because it's becoming highly political. And if I'm making a mistake, I am wise enough to say, I want to know what it is. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't believe in going with the flow at all. You think it out for yourself, you think it out objectively, and if there's a war on, you decide if it's one you should partake in, and if it's not, you make sure you don't. Why should a crowd of our retired phobies in America with big shares in arms companies be able to claim the 500 million, no, wrong, no, 0.5 million, half a million Ukrainian young people while they sell arms. They're looking for the money for the war in America, And most of that money that's paid to Ukraine will go right back into arms manufacture in the United States. And who has the shares in the arms manufacture? It's not you or me. It wasn't considered etiquette to invest in gun making and explosives and killing devices and artillery and nuclear bombs. But while all the world was being diverted on climate change, oh, this is the biggest challenge. All these people, all these masters of war, were not investing in climate change. They were investing in military arms and war. I think we need to think for ourselves. Folks, thumbs up if you agree with me, thumbs down if you don't, and comment underneath, and keep the comments in English and keep them fully sensible. Don't give a few words we don't know what's in your head. Goodbye.